Hey folks, this is Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. Today we're going to be talking about your mind is like an iceberg. Okay, so let's get started. 10% of an iceberg is above water. So that means 90% is below water. So we've got props here. Example, notice it's just a little bits above water and lots underwater. Okay. Okay, so let's just keep this over here. The part above water represents your conscious problems. Those are the problems you're aware of. The problems beneath are your unconscious problems you're not aware of or you're just barely aware of. Okay? And so the sun represents you dealing with those conscious problems. As your conscious problems are dealt with, unconscious problems float to the top or float into consciousness. As problems are dealt with, greater peace follows. Okay, so here's how it works. You start out here. You start working on these problems right here. And as you do that, the size of the iceberg lessens, this part floats up and you've got your problems are smaller, but again, 10% is still above water. And as you make more progress, again, only dealing with the ones above water, boom, your problems become smaller. And it takes time. So notice progression. You start over here and you progress this way. And you know, this is not the end of the game, obviously. That's how the pattern goes. And so, how did I come to this understanding? Did I read Freudian psychology and come up with this? No. That ain't how it came about. I've been on a real spiritual path for 8 years. And what happened was I started noticing, I started thinking, boy, if I got rid of these problems, because I was aware of some of my problems, I said, boy, if I can get rid of these problems, then I'll be enlightened. And so I worked on them, and I snapped, some of them, I finally conquered them. I was like, I'm done. The unconscious problems started floating up. I was like, damn, I thought I was going to be done. Nope. That's only 10% of your problems you worked on. So that's how it came. And that pattern just kept happening over and over. After you see it 3 or 4 times, you start to realize, okay, once I deal with these problems, more of them just going to float up. Now, what happens typically is you'll deal with the problems at your conscious level. You'll either lessen them or get rid of them. And you might have peace for a little while, or you'll have greater peace in general. But then all of a sudden you'll start becoming aware those problems that float up, and you're like, oh, I'm not really done. I thought I was done, but I wasn't done. So that's how this came into being. So it's not Freudian psychology or anything like that. Okay. And notice as you deal with those problems, your mind will get sharper. So you'll become more aware. And as you become more aware, you'll be able to deal with those more subtle problems. And notice, each time along the way, your conscious problems are smaller. Like over here, your conscious problems are big. But as you move here, your conscious problems get smaller and smaller. And likewise, your unconscious problems. And so your mind will get more subtle. You'll be picking up on things. Again, this isn't an intellectual video. It's not meant to be an academic published work. This video is meant for people who really want to make progress, who want to understand their mind, who want to really conquer their mind. Not somebody who wants to work an academic paper. I care less about that stuff. This is about real that's all I'm concerned with, is real progress. If you ain't, you're watching the wrong videos. Like I said, it's just meant to give you some perspective on how your spiritual path is going to unfold, how your mind's going to be working. And so when you conquer some of those conscious issues, don't be surprised when more of them float up. A lot more of them. And again, it's also to point out what problems you should be dealing with. You shouldn't be trying to be a scuba diver and trying to unmelt that, deal with your unconscious problems. You deal with the problems you're aware of. Those are the ones you can deal with. And this is where Zen gets in a lot of trouble. I mean, I'm not claiming to be a Zen master or know everything Zen does, but this is just my take on it. Zen tries to go right to the core of it and just deal with ego. Notice where that's at. That's way underwater. That's way down here. That is the root of the problem. I don't have no problem with that. Problem is, though, the method is poor. Here's Here's what I say: Zen tries to work underwater, so it's ego trying to conquer ego. I mean, it's basically being impatient. It's not allowing the spiritual path to unfold in a natural fashion. So again, notice it's not following the tree principle, which I mentioned in the ultimate methods. You know, it's getting ahead of itself. It's like trying to make a plant grow overnight. You know what I mean? You know how plants grow. You basically do the minimum, and let God do the rest. And likewise, same in your spiritual path. You don't go around trying to make plants grow. You let them grow. You do your little bitty part, and you let God do the rest. And this is also, like I say, most stuff has been on the spiritual path. Has been learned. It's been learned before. Most of it, probably all of it. I'm just going to say most, because I think that may not be exactly true. Now, I remember reading something where the Buddha said mentioned that the mind is very subtle. So, I mean, this is nothing new. It's just, you know, it's nothing really new. And as all, this is going to be a one video one, so there won't be a second one. So let me point out up in the upper right hand corner, I have 3 blogs. You can click the links and go, and it's underneath my name and the subscribe button. And there's 3 of them: the billy-path.blogspot.com, which is the ultimate spiritual guide. Then there's billy-path-explain, which is explaining it, which is still, that one's under construction, so you know, don't expect a lot if you go there. Then the third one is billy-current-events.blogspot.com, which is my take on current events, you know, applying fundamental truths through current events, and I think you'll get some good insights off that. And in closing, now go think about what you've heard, then go live it.